Well, we are glad you are still with us. Let's now get into the Money Matters segment. Last week, I had introduced this topic about drop shipping, and I had explained what drop shipping is and what you need to be aware of as a buyer and as a seller, and we mentioned some other things. So today I want us to look at advantages and disadvantages of this online business model called drop shipping. But of course, there is no harm in repeating the explanation of what drop shipping is in case you missed to watch this program last week. So we said drop shipping means selling products without storing them in a warehouse. In this method, the retailer doesn't store the products. He purchases them from a third-party supplier only when he receives an order of purchases made. So the products are then shipped directly to the buyer, and this way a retailer doesn't have to handle any inventory. So in the drop shipping business, the retailer is not required to fulfill inventorial orders in any way. The supplier takes care of everything. Drop shipping is a great option as it doesn't require much investment like the traditional retail business models. There is no need to pay rent for the store or in an overhead arranged warehouse to store your products. All you need is to open an online store and link with suppliers who have the products you want to sell. In this model, you are a middleman while the merchandise responsible for processing orders. So it is a simple yet rewarding business model, and this business model requires less money to get started. So as I have explained there, when you are a drop shipper, you are like a middleman. So you receive orders of the purchases made, then you make sure you have a supplier and you make sure the products that you are selling are delivered to the buyer. Okay, hope now you understand. Let's take a look at the advantages. Of course, there are many advantages and disadvantages, and you must weigh them before you decide to start your own drop shipping business. So the first advantage that we want to discuss is it requires less capital. This is probably the biggest benefit of drop shipping. It is possible to launch an online store without investing in a physical store or an inventory. Traditionally, retailers had to spend heavy amounts on purchasing an inventory. However, there's no need to invest in purchasing products with the drop shipping model unless you have already made a sale. Since there is no investment in buying an inventory like the traditional business, there is a lesser risk. So in drop shipping, you literally don't need a shop, or rather a store, to have your products there. You only need to open an online store. There you can keep photos of the products that you normally sell. Let's say if they are clothes, shoes, or maybe accessories, or maybe electronics, you just put the photos. Then the buyers will place their orders. So as a drop shipper, you link with your supplier who will bring those items to you, and then you make sure that they are delivered to the buyer who has placed that order. Alright? So as a drop shipper, you don't need to pay for rent for the products, because you don't have a store where you can keep your products. But of course, you can decide to purchase your own products and sell them. I hope you understand. You can decide to open an online store, or you can also decide to have a physical shop with some few products. Okay? And comparing it to the traditional business, there is a lesser risk, because if something happens, God forbid, if there is fire, the one who has a physical shop will incur losses, but you, unless your gadget spoils and then those items that you had taken photos of disappear, and that's not risky compared to the one who has a physical shop. Another advantage is that it is easy to test. What do I mean? Dropshipping is a useful e-commerce business model to test the waters before starting a physical or launching a physical store. You can test the customers' likes and dislikes by having additional products like fashion, accessories, or a unique item. Essentially, dropshipping is selling products without storing large amounts of stock. I think I've explained this. So it's easy to test the waters if this thing is taking you somewhere. And of course, you can just decide to test the customers' likes and dislikes. What do your customers like? What do they dislike about the products that you sell? Alright? And something to do is that you have to get additional products, or you make sure you have a unique item that this customer can only get them in your store. Alright? But of course, you don't have to store large amount of stock, because you just need to make sure you communicate with your supplier and then bring some items and make sure they are delivered to your clients or your customers. Another one is that dropshipping is easy to start and run, because running an online dropshipping business is comparatively easier, since there is no need to deal directly with the physical products. You can avoid the following: 1. Managing a warehouse. 2. Paying for a storage space in a warehouse. 3. Tracking inventory and managing inventory levels, then packaging and shipping products and handling returns etc. So all these that you are avoiding are the responsibilities of your supplier. Alright, so here you are just a link between the supplier and the buyer. So here you are the middleman. All these that I've said you can avoid are done by the supplier to make sure they manage their warehouse where the items are coming from. Then of course a supplier needs to have a storage space and they need to pay for it. Okay, and then the main duty, packaging and shipping the products. Of course the supplier will just package and ship the products. As a drop shipper, you'll not do that. You'll just make sure that the products are delivered to your customer. Your work is just to receive the orders that are placed by the customer and make sure the supplier gets them and the products are delivered. Okay, then another advantage is that it's flexible, and by flexible I mean a drop shipping business can be run from your home or anywhere with just a laptop and an active internet connection. You just need to communicate with your suppliers and customers and conveniently run your business. I think that's self-explanatory. I will not repeat explanation. Another advantage is that it has a wide range of products. Since you don't have any pre-purchased inventory to sell, you can offer a wide range of products to your customers as soon as your supplier stocks a new product. Okay, then it's also easy to grow. In a traditional retail setup, you will have to work double if you receive double orders. However, in a drop shipping model, the heavy work related to processing orders is done by the third party supplier, and this helps you to grow and expand your business without taking any additional pain. However, bear in mind the increase in sales will surely bring an additional work in terms of customer support. As a drop shipper, you can also decide to have a third party supplier. Okay, so the third party supplier will make sure the orders are processed. So this will ensure that you don't do so much work. You only need to confirm if your buyer or your customer has received their items as per the orders are placed. So when we will be looking at the disadvantages, there's something that we'll talk about as we proceed. So let's look at the disadvantages. All the advantages that I have listed there make dropshipping a lucrative business model. However, before you make up your mind, you must know what are the disadvantages so that you can make informed choices. The first disadvantages to discuss is shipping complexities. Now, if you time with different third-party suppliers, they are all associated with different carrier partners, and this will increase the shipping costs, and it will be difficult for you to keep track of your orders. Suppose a customer places an order for 2 items and the items are available with separate suppliers. You will incur different shipping costs, and you will have to track or see the orders separately. Now, you see the disadvantages of having a third-party supplier. They may be held up somewhere, or they are associated with different career partners, because maybe these people are not supplying the items for you only, so they need to supply for other drop shippers or other businesses, and this will increase the shipping costs. And as it happens like that, it can be hard for you to keep track of your orders. Like the example I've given here, you may find that a customer has ordered 2 separate items that need to be looked for in 2 different suppliers or 2 different shops. And as a buyer, if you order, I'm sure if you've ever ordered something online and you happened to order 2 products, you don't receive them on the same day. One may come tomorrow and the other one the day after tomorrow. So as a drop shipper, it becomes difficult for you to track your orders if you are going to get the items from different or separate suppliers. That's the disadvantage that you need to deal with. Okay? Then another one is inventory issues. Since you don't store your products, you cannot track the products incoming and outgoing. Thus, you don't know which products are out of stock. But when you source products from multiple warehouses and suppliers, their inventories can change anytime. Okay? That's another disadvantage of not having to store your products that you are selling. So you need to communicate with your suppliers very well to know which items are out of stock, so that when an order is placed, you can easily make sure the items are available and they are delivered to your customers. Then another one of the biggest advantages of drop shipping is that it is highly competitive and it offers low margins. Since it's very easy to start, it is the most preferred online business. Also, since the investment is low, the retailers can run the business with low margins. However, you can make a difference by making a high quality website and offering excellent customer services. The way you serve your customer is what will determine how competitive you will be, because as you've heard, this is something that has stiff competition because it's the most preferred. And why is it most preferred? Because it requires less capital to start. So that means very many people are doing this business. So you have to be unique. You have to create a high quality website. Put your things in order. Organize your products. If there are photos of items you've taken, make sure you list them with their prices in order so that it can be easy for a customer to identify what they want to order. So another thing is supplier errors. Your customers can blame you for something that is not your fault. However, you still will have to accept the mistake. Since the suppliers fulfill the orders, they may commit some mistakes and bear those mistakes and apologize for the same. Also, low quality products, mismatched products, and batched shipments can damage your reputation in the market. You see, that's another disadvantage. A supplier can make an error, and as a drop shipper, you are blamed for something that is not your fault. But because the customer placed an order using your website, you will have to accept the mistake and carry that burden. And of course, you will have to apologize and make sure you communicate with your supplier not to repeat that mistake. And I remember this has ever happened to me. This time I ordered shoes, and when I got the shoes, I just used them for like 2 days, and on the third day the sole was coming out, and I called the drop shipper and I asked them, where did you get these shoes from? And I saw that you advertised the shoes are good. What happened? So he had to apologize and say that he will talk to the supplier to make sure, as his customer, I don't need to complain because of the item that I received. So as you can see, if a customer places an order and the order doesn't meet their expectation, you'll carry that cross. If the products are mismatched, you'll have to carry that cross. And of course, you apologize and link with your supplier to make sure that mistake is not repeated. So as a final say, what do we conclude? We say that drop shipping is not the perfect business, yet it is a stress-free way to start and run a business. But like every other business, it requires hard work. This business has its advantages and disadvantages. We have discussed them, and you can see that with some plannings and considerations, you can resolve all the hurdles and take your business into new heights. Alright? So if you think of starting to do drop shipping. I hope you've learned something. For the 2 weeks that we've talked about this topic, at least you have some knowledge to consider start something. But you know, you can always test waters. If it doesn't work, don't force. You can try something else. Alright? And I think that will be all for today on Money Matters. Thank you so much for watching. My name is MWOLOLO, and our sign language interpreter has been Tobias Omondi. On behalf of all that made this broadcast a success, we wish you a good night and enjoy the rest of your viewing. Goodbye.